It is 2001 after Christ, and we are still living in the Middle Ages, and we are still living with the same body that is wet inside and dry outside, and we are still living with a body that has many more colors inside than outside, and we are still living with the fairy tale of love, and not a single day without blood. And we are still living with an insatiable hunger for more. It is not sufficient, it is not enough, and we are still living full of shame that only shows when we blush and when the blood gleams through our skin. Verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man, ye have no life. Sensual beings, with eyes that reflect the souls of others and sparkle in ecstasy, with a seductive mouth, sweet lips to suck, and snow-white teeth to bite. Sensual beings of a blinding beauty that glides off their body, a glow of warm voluptuousness that intoxicates others. Isn't that how you would like to be? Isn't that how we'd all like to be? True or not? Sensual beings with eyes like tentacles, eyes that do not look, but softly caress and feel, with sharp cheeks and a muscly mouth that together form a hollow where saliva and other fluids mix for pure pleasure. Sensual beings with a soft skin that is marked by furrows, like rings of status and wisdom that decorate their body. Sensual beings of an exotic beauty that drips from their body, a sensuous pleasure that draws others to them. Sensual beings who remain eternally young and strong, so they radiate power and create the illusion that they have no fears and are free of all rules. Isn't that how you would like to be? Isn't that how we'd all like to be, true or not? Wouldn't we like to be bloodsuckers? But that is forbidden, that we have decided for ourselves. I see people going pale. Why? Because it is forbidden? Or because you're thirsty? We have ourselves laid down limits, but we cannot stay away from them. It is the nature of humans to exceed these limits. In life, two things are certain, and they may actually be the same. We shall die, and we shall exceed limits. Wouldn't we like to be immortal, true or not? Imagine you are a bloodsucker, only you should not forget, you can't kill what is already dead, and I can assure you, eternity lasts a long time. We should better get used to it. Only be sure that thou eat not the blood, for the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. We are slaves to what we are. At least I admit it. And I want to become that from which I live. We should become that from which we live. Our habits and our needs are controlled by our will, but our will is shaped by our addiction. We can never get enough, because if we are sober, the body hurts, and we live in a hell. I have felt this hellish pain. I'm on a diet. Do you know how long I've fasted so far? The longing is great, immense. I feel it and taste it in my dreams. Even now when I look at you, I feel like it, and I see it in your eyes, the same longing. And this recognition increases my hunger even more. I know the thirst, a thirst without measure. Have I drunk too much wine? I have to be careful, restrain myself. We are addicted to the best stuff there is, the most expensive stuff there is. To get it, we fuck violently and hit passionately. We rape festively and we slaughter ritually. We kill courteously and we murder en masse. Orgy, sacrifice and war all yearn for the same: blood. Our addiction is blood. We suck, slurp, drink, swill, lap up blood to forget that we are vampires. This can be blamed on the cruelty with which we are oppressed, we are tortured, and, as victims, we reproduce the imagination of our judges. It is 2001 after Christ, and we are still living in the Middle Ages, and we are still living with the end of time, which has never been so near as now. And we are still living with a white sky in our mind and a body that does not want to burn in purgatory. And we are still living before the cradle and after the grave with white stalks and white maggots that deliver us and live in us. I want to become that from which I live. Under my armor, under my skin, hides tomorrow's body. The body of the future is in me. O redness of blood which ebbed away from the height the divinity has touched. You are the flower that was never harmed by the ice-cold breath of the serpent. The body of the future is in me, the essence of my being, a carmine flow that has no equal on earth. A river that circulates in its world of flesh, a river that visits every organ and each cell in my body. This unique river feeds, cleans, removes waste, and supplies oxygen. The body of the future is in me, a mysterious fluid, a sticky substance that is used to stick white feathers to the skin of anthropoids. The body of the future is in me, a precious medicine, a magic elixir of life, which, like dented cushions, form the bed for rituals of initiation. Today's body, the body of the Middle Ages, will disappear. A human is a fine design, but it has shortcomings. We have to free ourselves from the familiar feelings and emotions we have. We can become what we want to become. We can become that from which we live. The mind-expanding stuff. A liquid being that is wet inside and outside too. That cares for its own internal environment but does not forget the external either. I want to become that from which I live. No organ can survive, not even the brain, without a blood supply. Blood survives. It is the food and feeding ground of life. Blood is life. Blood will be my wet red body and my red wet antibody. It can mutate, transform, manipulate. Blood will rewrite itself. It shall multiply itself. It will not coagulate. It will remain forever fluid, pure, and innocent. It will have no antibodies. Blood will tolerate any blood all over the world, even that of frogs and toads. Blood will look in the dark like the bat and see the colored spectrum of the butterfly. Blood will move, as always, like a river, running over fields with the speed of the snail or the tiger. Blood will speak like the lamb and the sheep. from its soul with all its doubts, and blood will sing like an angel. A new body is a new era. Mother Middle Ages is hundreds of years too late. Let it all pour out. Let this flood gush out of her genitals. Let the waves flow over me so the scent will make me blossom. Let me wash myself and make love in it. Let the stream of wisdom flow and mix with the seas, and make the earth more fertile than ever, and give us the most luxurious gardens that may exist. It is 2001 after Christ, and we are still living in the Middle Ages, and we are still living with our genitals covered, and yet we believe we are better than animals, and we are still living with a body that wears out and is exhausted by obsessions of the mind, and we are still living with a death that is hidden away and floats round in our daily life like a ghost with various disguises. It is the eve of something awesome and unknown, but we are ready for it. I want to become that from which I live. I weigh about 70 kilos and have about 2,500 billion red blood cells. Their lifespan is 120 days. 1/120th of them has to be replaced every day. My blood makes more than 200 billion of them a day, or more than 2 million of them every second. If need be, this production can be increased 6 or 7 times. In the course of my life, I shall produce 5 million billion red blood cells, which amounts to a weight of about 500 kilos. Let me introduce myself. A landscape of glistening red, in which white clouds and snowy mountain tops reflect themselves. Will it remain a one-man concern? No one has to follow me, but it is allowed, because I have decided to change the color of the world. The blue planet will be red and undergo the cleansing and enriching influence of this bath of blood. The earth will be a Jerusalem, a final destination for the liquid body, a place where this liquid body can live forever. It is a birth, not a death. Wounds gave birth to me, and I myself have created wounds. I have seen many wounds that could no longer be staunched. Blood justifies the means. Oh, glorious wounds. Because when I penetrated those open eyes, my eyes filled with blood. Blinded, I felt my way forward until I reached the deepest fibers of the blood. Blinded, I felt my way forward until I reached the deepest fibers of the body. And, enclosed on every side by these fibers, I could no longer go back. There, where I dwell, I now live, and feed on what blood feeds on, and I become drunk with that which blood drinks. My blood has little legs and tickles in my veins. My blood has little wings and flaps in my arteries. My red soul wants to meet another air. My wet body wants to get out. In some places, I see my skin changing into a transparent membrane that longs to be torn open. Would a virgin's blood flow out of it? In other places, I see my skin swell and almost burst open. Drips of blood emerge from my pores, white, yellow, red, and even blue blood. It is a gift, not goods to be sold. Am I a universal donor? It seems as if I want to give the world a transfusion. I love my powerlessness. It is very hard for me to wield the sword, the lance, the saber, the axe, the double-edged scythe and bludgeon, let alone the bow and arrow. I love the power of butterflies and their instruments, the razor-sharp front legs that cut like scalpels, and I love the scars they will leave on my body. The lips of my wounds will pout and try to articulate something of the pleasure that goes beyond pain and the curiosity about what is to come. I want to be a wounded man, a pelican perhaps, unselfish. I am ready to draw my wound marks on me. The penetration of my body can commence. I make myself medieval once again. I am a doctor of the Middle Ages. Like in the past, like now, an autodidact. I cut myself. Medieval once again, until my liquid tissue is completely visible and becomes a new suit of armor that is invulnerable. Anyone who cuts themselves well will see nothing. No muscles, no glands, no organs, none of these things. Only blood. It is not an alarm signal. It is to undergo a change. The bloodletting commences. Always the most noble wound first. The first cut. I cut into my forehead and open the vena frontalis, arteria frontalis. Second cut and third cut. I cut into my left temple. I cut into my right temple and open the vena temporalis, arteria temporalis. Fourth and fifth cut. I cut under my left ear. I cut under my right ear. Sixth cut and seventh cut. I cut into my throat, at an angle above the larynx, at an angle below the larynx. Eighth cut and ninth cut. I cut near my collarbones, left and right. 10th, 11th and 12th. I cut my chest in the middle and under my nipples. 13th, 14th and 15th. I cut my lower abdomen in the middle and left and right. 16th, 17th and 18th cut. I cut into the mouth of my penis and my left groin and my right groin. 19th, 20th, 21st and 22nd. I cut into my legs, just above the kneecaps and the left calf and the right calf. 23rd, 24th, 25th and 26th cut. I cut into my feet just above the toes and into the arch of my feet. 27th, 28th, 29th and 30th. I cut into my arms, in the left and right upper arms, in the left and right lower arms. 31st, 32nd, 33rd and 34th cut. The ultimate cut. The last cut. I cut into my left wrist and my right wrist, the palm of my left hand and the palm of my right hand, and I open the vena ulnaris, arteria ulnaris, arcus venosus palmaris. I let myself run dry. I let myself run out. I free myself. I let this special fluid full of soul go its own way. The oxygen from inside and the outside air meet each other. I am healthy, liquid, and warm. I am blood. I am blood. Blood. My moist red body, this sparkling life, drips, seeps, flows, sprays outwards like a pulsating fountain from the opened body. I am blood. I am coming out. I empty myself of my blood. I speak with the voice of which I am made. I write with myself sentences that can be washed away and never reappear. The Middle Ages are over. No one will buy nor sell my body. I am blood. No one will make my body sin. I am blood. No one will accuse my body of lovelessness and intolerance. I am blood. No one will purify nor release my body. I am blood. No one will sacrifice nor reconcile my body. I am blood. No one will punish nor curse my body. I am blood. No one will let my body die. I am blood. No one will isolate my body nor canonize it. I am blood. No one will wear my body as a body. I am blood. No one will let my body bleed, because I am blood.